Here, I'll set a stopwatch. So I'm going to start by quoting from an author, one of my favorite authors, me. Actually, I'm quoting from one of my least favorite publications. It's in my book, though. This is from the Globe and Mail, the Toronto Globe. It described Western separatism as primitive and confused, groping for a platform and searching for a leader. Well, there's a bit of truth to that, you know, but the bigger issue is that this headline's from December 1980. 45 years. Now, if we have a headline that somebody could read and see as appropriate 45 years ago and think that it would actually match the circumstances of today, we're doing something terribly wrong. We're making the same mistakes over and over and over again. I'm fantastic at making mistakes. My long-suffering wife can attest to that. But what I'm good at is making so many that I almost never repeat them. So I can keep making new ones, and eventually we're going to run out of mistakes. And that means we're going to find the solution. Because the support for Western independence is, you know, the movement has been trying to go for almost 50 years now. And we're getting a little bit closer all the time, but we're still not there. So we've got to look back a bit and make sure we aren't trying the same tactics and strategies now that we tried 45 years ago, or even 20 years ago. I founded the Alberta Independence Party back in 2000, so I guess 25 years ago. Man, it goes. And we ran into the 2001 election, and Ralph Klein mopped the floor with us. Just solidly trounced us, but I learned a lot. I sure learned a lot. And then the party fell apart due to infighting and blew up. A large part due to my inexperienced leadership and just that cranky nature of independence-minded folks in general. We're hard to keep together. It's great to see this many in the room. Nobody's even fought yet. So, give me some time. And then I look at the 2023 election, the provincial one. We had 5 independence-minded parties running in that one. If you add the vote of all 5 of those parties together, it totals 0.8%. Some very good people worked very hard and ran for those parties, and they made some very good points. But when you smack your face on a wall, you have to kind of start reevaluating your strategy. And the party approach isn't working. I'm kind of fearful when some people are talking about trying it again. If we go into the next provincial election, if indeed an independence party starts to get strong, and I mean strong by meaning where it can gain 10% of the vote, you'll be able to say, hello, Premier Nenshi. And we're never going to get another referendum again. So let's learn. You know, let's dedicate our energy, our resources to what works. I'm not looking to knock the people working on the parties. I'm just saying we've learned and proven that route just isn't quite getting us where we want to go. So let's examine different ones. And something that we're facing that's different this time, different than ever in the history of Alberta. We're living in a period of history. We will have a referendum on independence. That's pretty much assured now. I mean, some of the date, hopefully it's maybe early 2026. Premier Smith has given us the means to pursue that and hold that referendum. It's never been done. Also means we can make a bunch more new mistakes on the way there, so we got to be careful. But it gives us a focal point. It gives us a target. It gives us something much more simple and attainable, something where multiple groups, multiple individuals can, as long as we're always focused on that target of a yes vote, then we're making progress towards it. See, that's the hard part with party politics. Party politics are competitive by nature. You're too busy scrapping with each other at times and forgetting the principles that you formed the party to pursue in the first place. But if we're all just looking at a yes vote, we don't have to get along with each other. We just have to know we're all going in the same direction. If we look in recent history, Brexit, and the attitudes are pretty similar. That, at the beginning, when it came about, the Prime Minister was so confident the UK was, let them have it. You know what? Let's let them just vote on it. They'll get their 20%, it'll be out of the way and it'll be done. And the academics and the pundits and the usual establishment sorts said, you know, The unwashed, just let them have their thing. It won't happen. Boy, were they in for a shock, weren't they? But that's because the movement developed underneath them. It developed despite them. That's what grassroots is about. That's bypassing the establishment. And the establishment has got a different attitude today than they did the last time they faced an independence referendum. I know there's a few of us in here old enough to remember the 90s. And remember the attitude towards Quebec when that 95 referendum was being held. They sent literally busloads of people out to Quebec. The attitude was one of groveling and begging. Please don't leave us, Quebec. Please, we love you. We love you. We'll buy more poutine. We'll send more transfer payments. We'll even cheer the Habs once. Whatever it takes. Please stay. Well, here we are today. And what are they saying? You selfish jerks in Alberta shouldn't even hold a referendum. How dare you? You don't have the right to even talk about it. Look at some of the headlines. You want to read snotty, Laurentian elitism? Read Andrew Coyne. Make sure your stomach's settled, though. And what they're talking about, what the people out front, they were much more polite than Mr. Coyne. But you notice what they were protesting out front, the little elbows up chickens out there? They were protesting Bill 54. They aren't even protesting independence. They're protesting our right and ability to have a vote on it. They don't want us to even be able to mark that ballot. They're anti-freedom. They're anti-choice. And they're scared. That's why they're not challenging the concept of independence. They're challenging the ability of getting it, which is very, very important. Some of them do know that this could turn into Brexit. This could expand and grow and lead to that positive vote. But, and there's a big but, we aren't there yet. We got a lot of people, and I've been kind of calling for in public on my columns and social media, tap the brakes a bit. I know we're upset, we're eager, we've got the means, but folks, we aren't there yet. And if we blow it, we might not get another chance for 5 or 10 more years. So let's make sure we do this right. It's not like something we can run every 6 months until we figured it out. It's going to take a lot of resources, a lot of energy, and then a cool down period if we don't get over the line the first time. And polling is amazing. I mean, we've never really seen this kind of polling support for independence. We're seeing it in the 36, possibly 40% range. But remember, that's polling for a losing vote. That's not a winning condition. That's an incredible base to begin from. A fantastic base to begin from. I'm certain Brexit began with a smaller base than that. Many, many revolutions began with a smaller base of support than that. But it's not there. So, geez, don't call it question when you only got 40% support. That's just asking to kick it down the road. You want to know one of the people who said, let's hold that referendum right away? Naheed Nenshi. Because whatever he might be, and there's a lot of things he might be. If you want to read my columns, I've gone on many, many times about what Mr. Nenshi is. But he's not stupid. And he knows that the best way to kill this thing would be to hold it in 2 months, have it fail, and then he'll make Premier Smith wear it and run in the next election on it. But he's terrified if this runs it a year from now, we get our act together. So who's going to do it, though? There's one of the great things about being in the West, though. This is where we've got so much potential and opportunity to do this. Because we're Westerners. We're not waiting for someone else to do stuff for us. We're not asking for other people to do stuff for us. We get up and do it ourselves. If the people who settled out here on that parched land and then later freezing land and then parched again managed to stubbornly get through and turn this into an agricultural powerhouse, a freedom-loving new part of Canada, that's people who just want the opportunity to do it themselves. And that's what we'll do. So that's where the call to action comes out. That's what I talk about a lot, is we have to get out there and turn that 36% into a 55% in a referendum. Media blowhards like me have a role, and academics have a role, and all sorts of people. It's important. But you know, the most important person, if you're turning a person's view, people who are on the fence, people who are thinking about it, it's your family members, it's your coworkers, it's the person sitting next to you at the hockey game, it's the guy you're sharing a beer with at the front of the pub. One-on-one conversations, that's what turns people over. I mean, all of the rest is important, but it's for a true grassroots thing, it's the one-on-one. But you have to do it tactically. You have to come into it with a plan. And it's not just my self-serving plug for the book, but I think it couples great with Michael's fantastic books because he's written so many on the why to go. And my book, as I call it, the handbook, because it's focused on the how. It's focused on the most common questions people always ask, and they're genuine, legitimate questions. So we got to watch it. I can be a crabby, dismissive guy, and I get tired of hearing the same question 20 times over, but I got to stop that because the person asking is genuinely concerned. So when they say, how are you going to possibly make it when you're landlocked? You always hear that one. You say, yes, we'd be like Switzerland with oil. See, again, you don't have to be as sarcastic as I was with it, but there's a point to that, right? Like, we can make a point, and we have to study some of these points so we can politely answer those legitimate questions. If coastal access and oil alone were a recipe for riches, Venezuela would be one of the richest places on the planet. They ate their zoo animals. And they had all the oil they could possibly consume, but it tasted terrible. Meanwhile, Switzerland, Austria, they're doing very well. How can we possibly have a relationship post-independence? Well, again, not everybody is a geek like me and reads on that. But a lot of people forget Sweden and Norway were one country. Back actually the year that Alberta was founded, they held a referendum and they split. And look at them now. They're two small nations, mostly resource-based. They don't have passports between the two countries, but they are two distinct countries with sovereignty, closest of friends. One's a little more socialist than the other, but they're still freedom-loving, they're peaceful. This can happen, it has happened. The Velvet Revolution, Slovakia, the Czech Republic. Borders change. It's nothing new. Countries aren't immutable. But emotions are real too. And a person's connection to the concept of Canada is strong. And we have to make that case to make people realize that Canada won't end when a province becomes independent. It's just the contract will. Newfoundland's still going to be there. Quebec's still going to be there. Our friends in some of them are in Toronto are still there. But we've got a different agreement. But it takes time. It takes multiple conversations. It takes tact. It takes planning. You can't get in somebody's face, particularly when it's something emotional. Somebody gets in your face, something you feel connected about, says, you got to stop doing that. Most of you, we're Albertans, this or the other ones. They're going to dig their heels in and tell you to get stuffed. So then you're not accomplishing what you want to, because we want to think tactically. We want to actually get up and think, can I create more supporters for a yes vote today? What can I do to do it, whether it's on my social media, whether it's at the bar? I mean, you don't have to wrap your life around it, but these are things that we can do as we go along. Because we worry about parties, groups, leaders, and they're important, but they come and go, they split. But if it's a network of individuals, that will never break. If that group blows up and disappears, it doesn't matter because the movement's still there. Another group will fill the void. If that party comes and goes, same thing. I guess you could almost say unorganized, but individuals moving in the same direction are much, much harder to stop. What's scarier coming at you? A single hornet you can swat out, or a whole bunch of ants coming into the thousands. The hornet's scary, but you'll never stop all those ants. So I just, want to get up there, and it's great. This is the room of the converted. Everybody here knows they want to go. They know that the system's not working. They're ready to roll. But we've got another 20% to gain. So this is the seed. We got to leave these rooms and get out and see how we can make this grow. Because it feels like it's going to be a long time, say, to get into 2026 in spring, where I'm guessing, and I could be dead wrong, as I said, I make a lot of mistakes, but the referendum might be held by then. It seems like a long time, but that's going to go fast. And we've got to use our time as effectively as possible. And groups and others are going to be integral. The Alberta Prosperity Project is far and above the most well-organized, got it together, some fantastic people, great resource on their website to point people towards that. If you don't have the answer to a question, look it up. And they've got a great Q&A on there, things like that. And don't be afraid if a person asks you a question and you don't know the answer, to say, I don't know. Let's have a coffee next week. I'll have the answer by then. Because people hate a BSer. Don't make it up. I'm being serious, you know. We can say, I don't know. It's honesty. That's what I mean what wins people. It's trust. It's knowing it's one-on-one. This person's not trying to feed me a line. They're genuinely trying to feed me something good. Either way, I'm using my stopwatch because I know you've been patiently sitting and bladders are filling. So I look forward to the questions and answers and the other speaker. I thank you for your time, and I'm very excited. I really am. You know, decades of this, but we have events and an opportunity like I've never seen in my lifetime, and I really think we're going to get it over the line. But it's up to us. Thank you.